Welcome back to the Boo Review for Take 2 on our review of The Conjuring 2.
So, yeah, what we did was we were like, okay, we're not going to talk to each other about the movie. We're going to wait till we get home, and then that way it'll be fresh when we're talking about it on camera. And we sat here and we recorded, and we talked about it, and we were like, that's going to be a good video. And then we lost the audio. We have none of the audio. So now everybody knows how we all feel about it, so it's not going to be fresh. Maybe.
But here we go.
All right, no spoilers in this first section.
No spoilers in the first section?
Second half, we'll reveal some spoilers.
And let me get Vu back in it. I'm moving the chair a lot. Also, with this will not really be edited like our usual videos because we want to kind of just impressions and everything.
Right.
And if you like this kind of video, let us know. Maybe we'll do it for some more horror movies that are upcoming that at least look interesting. Definitely not all of them. Jesus Christ. But here we go. Initial impressions. I liked it. I thought it was good. Mm-hmm. I think it's worth seeing.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth seeing in the theater. It's a kind of movie-going experience because you'll have other people in the audience freaking out, and I think that's really fun. Vu was pointing out that it's kind of hard to really get invested in the movie because people are talking, so it's not, you can't really, that's another reason why it's hard to get scared of these type of movies when people are talking because you just can't get into it. I couldn't anyway.
I feel like that's a bit detrimental as well as far as seeing it in a theater. Uh-huh. It's completely different experiences if you have a controlled environment versus the theater.
Right.
It's a more entertaining experience for a different reason in the theater.
Right, exactly.
It is great seeing it on a big screen, but the workaround on that is don't go on a Friday night like we did. Go watch it in the middle of the day during the week.
According to your preferences.
Yeah.
But anyway, Vu, good movie?
I thought it was good. There was some parts that were pretty funny though.
Yeah, it can get silly. And it'll scare you. It's just according to what type of person you are. If you have found these movies too funny or before, then this one's no different than that. I think it's definitely worth going to see, and I recommend it. I think the first Insidious is better, especially the first half. I think that is the best version of what James Wan does in terms of actually trying to scare us. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to repeat this because we've already talked about this once. But what I was saying before is that there are moments in this movie and a lot of these other movies like this, Conjuring, Insidious 2, where they'll have the tension going, and then they'll cut away, and they'll break the tension by cutting away from the tense moment, and it breaks the illusion.
Yeah, I can see what you mean with that. And going back on it, the soundtrack, I prefer, and I mean, there's pluses and minuses to this, as we discussed when we tried this before, but I prefer a more silent movie in the way that Ringu just builds suspense. It has very few audio cues from what I can remember.
Right, I agree with
Something
that.
like Paranormal Activity has none, and you're just glued to the screen trying to watch every little thing. There's no audio cues to preempt you. Sometimes they just fake you out with them.
Yeah, because they give the scare away whenever the audio cuts in and out. You can tell when it's going to happen. I will say, the other thing about that is I think the first Insidious's audio was really good because in the first half it was very different from a lot of other movies. It was jarring, and it felt like you kind of didn't know when the audio was going to come in and out. And I remember reading about how they intentionally did that on the first Insidious. They don't do that no more. They're giving it away again. Yeah. So that kind of sucks. But
also the actual case that they're going into. I went into this movie knowing nothing. I didn't know what this movie was about. I wrote it off.
Right.
It was like, this is a horror movie sequel. They never ever are good. Well, I'm not
necessarily.
Ever. They're rarely good.
Horror movie sequels can be better sometimes if the first movie sucked because they'll improve upon it later.
It's like the big.
That's only in horror movies mostly.
Horror movie sequels are one of the biggest wild cards in the world of sequels. I feel like as to where it can go. I do
Jason
feel like
4 was pretty. It's not Jason 4. Friday the 13th 4 was pretty good. I'm telling you.
I do think this movie edges out the first one. I think so if you enjoyed The Conjuring, you will most likely enjoy this one. I feel like it's a slower build in some ways than the first Conjuring, but the payoff is way better in the latter half of the movie. I think I might like it a little more than Insidious, but that might be because this movie is so fresh and I haven't seen Insidious since back when it came out, really. But I do remember I did really enjoy that movie.
All right, you guys want to get into spoilers?
Do we want to get Nathan's opinion on this movie?
Nathan, what do you think? God, just wasting our time.
All right.
He just made a face. That's all he did. Damn it, Nathan.
Now you have to edit a face on there.
We're going to edit what face he made. All right, let's move on to spoilers, right?
All right, yeah. So we're getting into spoiler territory now. So if you think you want to go see it, this is the part where you go away.
Are you
GTFO?
Or you watch the spoilers and you anticipate the movie more. because you know what's coming. Some people are like that. That's why they look up spoilers.
If I know spoilers, I won't watch or read anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. But anyway, spoiler. Everyone dies. There is a nuke.
Boo pointed out before that Will Smith's not in it.
Yeah, which that was sad. Yeah, he was expecting to see Independence Day, and it just
we were expecting the resurgence of Will Smith. Didn't happen.
No,
so that's not in it.
No one dies. That's another issue with these movies. Dory died. Dory does die in this movie.
Yeah, Dory. Oh my god.
I was really surprised that she even showed up and then died. But no, nobody dies in these movies. Nobody ever dies in these movies. And I think if someone would just kill one of these kids, that's horrible. I can't believe I just said that. But if someone would kill one of these kids in these movies, you would feel the tension more because it might happen again. Well, I think that's true. If you kill a character in a movie, you could. Oh, it's possible. This is that type of movie.
That's true. But this actually probably I meant to mention this in the non-spoiler section, but it's based on an actual case that Ed and Lorraine Warren investigated.
I thought you said that, didn't you?
I don't think I did it on the re-recording.
Oh, I didn't? Okay.
So a couple of things there real quick. I didn't know anything about the case. Looked into it after we got back, watched a little bit, and it looks like they represented it really well from what little that's been looked into since we got back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no doubt that they took what had really happened and made it way bigger Hollywood. Made it really big and stuff.
But that's also in the actual infield poltergeist haunting case. None of them died.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah.
But also, what Jared's saying, like in general, in horror,
they should just take liberties, man. They took all kinds of liberties. I mean, they took a lot of visual liberties. They should just kill one of the kids. I'm just saying.
But and in horror movies in general, and the more suspense type ones like this, obviously not the slasher films.
If I'm ever running for politician anywhere, someone's gonna play that back and be like, "Do you want this man as president?" I'm like, "Kill kids."
That's why there's no deaths in this one.
Yeah, there's no deaths in this one because
it is an issue in other suspenseful style horror movies.
Yeah,
whenever you know everyone is safe.
Right, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about the negatives, I guess, a little bit. Have we said anything positive about this movie?
Well, I don't know. Let's do it.
Good. Yeah, positive.
Because
good set pieces.
Because like literally moments ago, we just did this whole thing, so we have to keep it straight now.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember exactly what we said, but the first, I guess, a good positive is that there's really good set pieces. But like I said before, like sometimes they'll cut away. There's a moment where they have the picture of the nun, and it's zooming in on her, and it's really, I can feel the tension. I feel like it's going to happen, and then they keep cutting back to Lorraine Warren, and it's taking me out of it. I'm not getting creeped out because I'm not focused on this one thing. Another moment is when Ed gets his eyes. There's steam on his eyes, and he can't see. Everything's blurry, and he's going around corners and stuff. And that was creepy, but they kept cutting back to him. They kept cutting back.
They kept going back to like a third person.
First. Yeah, third person view. And every time they did that, it took me out. Took me out every time.
I can completely agree with that. It just kind of kills some suspense of the situation. Because seeing things through his eyes whenever he could barely see.
Right. First person.
You're looking for something and it's like you see something in that blurred vision. Which they didn't do, but you're looking for it. Yeah, that's another thing too.
They never actually see it. Yeah, there was nothing ever came out when he was looking through the blurred eyes. I was for sure they were actually going to use it for something, and they never do, which was was disappointing.
So again, they built some suspense that didn't pay off there.
Right, exactly.
And you were going to mention like set pieces. There's good moments where shit's flying all over the place and going crazy.
A lot of good startling sounds, like with the truck that comes through the place.
Little tent that the boy was playing in.
They use the blur effect pretty good when everybody has to turn their backs to the ghost and he has to do the thing. I thought that was pretty. That was a good scene. I forgot about that. That was good. Story is good in this in this place. For some reason, I actually felt more for Ed and Lorraine during this when they went to Britain to help these people.
Well, they do a good job. I said the movie had a little bit slower start than The Conjuring, but they do a good job of like the family experiencing these things before Ed and Lorraine are ever involved.
Right. Like, well, they start out with Ed and Lorraine and her.
Oh, in Amityville.
Yeah, they do Amityville first.
They kind of have their own thing going on. You kind of have each of them have their own thing going on, and then when they come together, it which is probably halfway through the movie, maybe.
I don't know.
It's at least a third of the way through. Yeah. They're just something more something feels better about seeing each of them in their own independent struggles that they're going through, and then when they come together.
Yeah, I know
rather than the first one.
And it all ties together plot wise as well. So
Yeah.
story was fun. It was good to get through. Good to get through. Okay, negatives. I feel like Ed and Lorraine Warren. I feel like their chemistry is fake. I'm just saying it. I feel like that way in the first movie. Everything is way too wholesome. Everything is way too wholesome in the first movie. Everything was just way too cheesy. These people didn't feel real to me. And in this movie, I still kind of felt that with Ed and Lorraine, but I felt for the British actors. I don't know what it is. I don't know. They just felt more realistic because I guess maybe bad shit was happening to them. Bad shit was happening to them, and I felt like that's life. So
I didn't really have a valid counterpoint. I was just going to say Night Owl's on top of his game, and then Vera Farmiga, she's looking good, man. Whatever she's doing. Yeah. She's looking good.
No, they're well cast. No negative before we run out of time. No negative is I feel like they were just like the whole premise of the movie. Well, not the whole premise, but some of the premise of the movie was like skeptics are assholes, aren't they? Like that was really. I just don't want people to watch this movie and think that skeptics are assholes, I guess. I mean, maybe some of them are. I don't know.
Yeah, because they have the parapsychologist.
Parapsychologist was a believer, and there was one skeptic.
No. The parapsychologist was the skeptic. It was like
there was two. There was the parapsychologist was the guy with the glasses, I believe.
He was like engineering something. Is what they introduced him as.
I don't know, but anyway, he was a believer. There was a skeptic there who was really, really rude. And I was just like, oh, yeah, okay, so the skeptics and that. And in the beginning, he's at that talk show, and there's a guy there who's just acting like a complete turd. And it was just like, and it just felt...
It felt like a Duncan Jones interview is what it felt like.
The whole thing felt very judgmental because whenever, she's like...
that guy that interviewed Duncan Jones. I like that movie.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Warcraft, yeah.
Did you go see Warcraft? Oh, okay. Anyway, no whole other thing. It felt like... Oh, whenever the skeptic is like, is it, I don't know what's worse, the people exploiting them or the demons? And Lorraine's like, the demons. It's just like, maybe, we don't know. I mean, it's pretty fucking shitty to exploit people, Lorraine. And she was really judgmental against the believer. The believer was like saying this would be a historic find. He was like, this is people's lives. It's not a laboratory. You dick. It was just like, I just felt like she should have backed off. I mean,
and no way did the guy try to say that the people's lives were any less important.
Right, yeah.
It's just, obviously saving these people's lives is the primary goal, but it's not a bad thing to also look at the greater implications of it.
Right, yeah, if you could actually prove it. And that's their problem. That's what Ed and Lorraine's problem is. They are also equally assholes to people who are skeptical of being so judgmental. And if they would allow these people to come in and have their skeptic guy on it, and then they're just, proven, it's like if we ever catch anything, I want James Randi. I want scientists. I want people, you know what I'm saying? Like I want, I think his name is Vic Tandy. I want Vic Tandy up in there. I want people who, would look at it logically versus people who are just ready to believe, So.
And again, this is the portrayal of Ed and Lorraine in this. I have no idea what their actual personality is like. So
right, yeah.
That's their portrayal in there. Is they were a bit of an asses to the skeptics, but I mean, if you
more judgment, more like silently judging.
Yeah, maybe that's a better thing because I mean, Ed and Lorraine, if you believe their stories, they've been through a lot of shit.
Right. Yeah. But even if I was like
I think Ed and Lorraine are super interesting.
Right. Oh yeah, they're the actual investigation that actually happened is very interesting.
Very interesting.
Anyway, I feel like I've talked about this to death because we've already done this twice. I've had to repeat a lot of what I said,
and I feel like we probably missed out on some things that we mentioned the first time around.
Whatever.
And I'm sure we could get to them, but we are still on a 15-minute limit.
And then that minute's about to end up. But anyway, good movie. Go see it. It's a great movie. Theater-going experience. The movie's good. Not great. Maybe.
I think the movie's really good. It's a really good horror movie. If you've seen Insidious or The Conjuring, if you liked them at all, you will probably like this one. I think it edges out the first Conjuring, as I said. Mm-hmm. Possibly even Insidious, but it's been a while since I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say this for
right now, I'll say I'll put it on par with Insidious.
I got 3 seconds. But the reason why this movie does better is because the cinematography is better than Insidious 2, which sucked because it didn't have great cinematography. And then we just hit 15 minutes.
Also, Vu has a problem with the doors. You have so little time.
I had to start that over. Well, no, because that door was ridiculously strong. I mean, that guy spent 20 minutes with an axe trying to hack it down, and
yeah,
I could probably punch through that though.
Yeah, so there you go.